Hey, everybody, just about 3.5 minutes here before we get it started. Just pre-call chit chat till we get everybody on. Should
Can
be a
y'all
fun conversation.
can y'all hear me okay?
Loud and clear.
Okay,
Perfect.
good deal.
Happy Tuesday, everybody.
Happy Tuesday.
Okay, keep this here now or it's fine?
That's cool.
I think it looks good.
Yeah. So rocking out. So a few more people joining. We'll cover this in a second too, everybody. But if you have questions along the way, I'll let everybody know. Drop them into the chat or drop them into the Q&A, and we'll answer them as real time as possible. Just another minute here, everybody, before we get started. Where's Michael at?
He's currently in China.
Oh, is he with David Katz too? Did David go this time?
It's a good question.
Huh.
Not
You're like, I don't know.
Yeah, so Walmart's having a seller summit there this week. And
Oh,
so
they are. Oh,
yeah,
cool.
so Michael is there for that, along with our VP that's in China, Daphne.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Hey, everybody, just about 30 seconds here. We'll kick it off. I think it's just, oh, hey, Michelle. I'll ping you after. It'd be great to catch up. Been too long, my friend. All right, let's go ahead and kick it off. Happy Tuesday, everybody. My name's Aaron. I'm the co-founder, the managing director here at BWG Connect. We're a giant network and knowledge sharing group. Kicked this off 7 years ago. Just for an opportunity for brands to connect with each other, network, knowledge share, and collectively come up with, hey, what are those biggest pain points, the biggest topics of interest that we really want to learn about as a whole? I spend most of my time talking to brands, 20 to 30 a week, and I'm asking them, hey, what are those things that you're trying to solve for? That's how we get the topics for all of our events. We'll do a couple hundred webinars. We'll do close to 100 dinners this year. If you're in a tier 1 city, just let us know. We're going to be around, shop talks, the Accelerate, the Unboxed, whatever it might be. The big shows that are out there, we're usually doing something. So ping us. The other thing is we want all these webinars to be as educational and informational as possible. So at any point in time during this webinar, if you have a question, drop into the chat, drop into the Q&A, and we'll try to get it answered in as real time as possible. We're starting a few minutes after the hour, just so you know, we're going to wrap up with a few minutes to go as well. We're going to give you plenty of time to get on to your next meeting without being late. And other than that, I think it's a good time to kind of jump into it. A little background here. I think everybody right now, they're looking for Walmart to win. They're looking for that alternative sales channel to Amazon. And there's a slight drawback on the focus on direct consumer. And so the next marketplace that people are really focusing on is. And so I've had a lot of questions in that space. And one of the things in the team over at SellCord comes highly recommended from a bunch of brands. And we're just had an interesting conversation around what does it take to win? And what was really funny is, a lot of people put all this time and effort into making sure their Amazon, PDPs are perfect. And then they just take that exact same thing, they drop it onto Walmart, and then they're like, hey, it's not working. And one of the interesting conversations I've had with the team at SellCord was like, yeah, because you need to do it different for Walmart. And so that is going to be a great conversation we're going to have today. We have David and Lane. Like David, I'll kick it over to you. Do you want to do, an intro on yourself and
Sure.
SellCord? That would be awesome. And then kick it over to Lane, and then we'll start jumping into it. Sound good?
That's perfect. Thanks, Aaron, for the intro. Yeah. So I'm David. I'm one of the co-founders of SellCord. We are an exclusive Walmart agency working with brands on both the 1P and the 3P side of their business. Now, we are a full service agency more than just an ad agency, and that entails a lot more of understanding the brand's goals on the platform, understanding, want to grow more than just, running ads. There's a promotional aspect, there's identifying the correct retails, and even understanding maybe catalog expansion, where you want to go, a Walmart exclusive catalog, a lot to do over there. With that, we've developed our proprietary software, which is both an analytics component for Walmart as well as, ads. It's an ad platform where we're able to work on this full picture side of the business. So it's not just about the ad, it's the full idea. We can discuss that a little bit more. Currently managing, tens of millions in Walmart ad spend every year. And we have teams based in Northwest Arkansas, where we got Lane, we got our office here in LA, and we also have our office in China, where Michael, our CEO, is actually currently for the Walmart Solar Summit in China. I'll throw it over to Lane for a little intro.
Hi, everyone. Happy Tuesday. My name is Lane Caruth, and I am VP of Enterprise at SellCord. I am new to the SellCord team, but not new to Walmart, so very excited to be a part of the team here. And as David mentioned, I'm based here in Northwest Arkansas, the land of Walmart. And previously, I was at White Spider for 8.5 years, and I've worked in the Walmart space, leading shopper marketing brands for a long time. So I'm excited to be here and excited to get into the content today, because what needs to be done on Walmart is very different from Amazon, and we can absolutely show you, and excited to show you some things here that I think will be super helpful.
Amazing.
Yeah. Awesome. So a quick reminder for those who've joined, drop questions in the chat or the Q&A and we'll get to them. There's one here right now. We just have to postpone to a follow-up. With today's news that Amazon is forcing off some 1P vendors to 3P. Do you know of any 1P vendors that have successfully transitioned to 3P without repercussions? So if you want to ping me on the side, Aaron, AARON at BWGconnect.com, just because it's more Amazon focused, I'll take that conversation for sure, and more than happy to do a deep dive on that. I mean, the answer is yes. You have to be careful on how you do it. But in this case, I think just because that's more Amazon focused, I want to keep this one to Walmart and Walmart excellence. But whoever wrote that in, ping me, and we'll have that conversation for sure.
Okay, amazing. Let us know as these more comments. I think it's definitely a big conversation on Walmart right now, the whole 1P to 3P transition, as Walmart's moving away from DSP as a whole. And it's something that is covered in general through this presentation as well. So the main topic of this webinar is the PDP excellence, how to maintain that and achieve that on Walmart. Aaron, you nailed it with that. Everyone likes to just take their Amazon content, drop it on Walmart, and then months later they're complaining why things aren't succeeding. And it's that fault. You're not giving it the attention it deserves. Consider Walmart as that secondary marketplace to Amazon, but it needs the same attention you gave Amazon at one point. A lot of people even like to group it into the other marketplaces. Don't think of it as your TikTok shop, your Target. Like, consider that this is a platform that is growing exponentially. And at this rate, if you don't invest well, you're going to regret it in a few years when you didn't effort. So this is just a little bit about the preface as to what we're going to be discussing here. So we discussed a little bit about SellCord, kind of how we're structured, and here's just a little bit of a list of some of the brands we currently manage on Walmart, have helped grow. Even a number of these we've helped with their transition from the DSP to the 3P side, which, especially on that side of the business where it's a lot more about identifying proper retail, there's some bigger components there, but just some of the brands. So we like to kind of start from the beginning as to what makes a good PDP. And I break it down into two different categories. We have the front end, which is all customer facing, and then the back end, which is, the Walmart algorithm. Now, you will see that there is a little bit of overlap on the copy component, and we'll discuss that a little bit here. So each of these is broken down on additional slides, but just these are the high level ideas. Front end, you have the imagery, you have rich media, which is additional content, below the fold content, videos, You have your main copy, which is customer facing, and you have variations and reviews. All of this is what a customer sees when they're reviewing your PDP. Then you have the stuff on the back end that Walmart uses in terms of their KPIs. You have the content score, which is there's a listing quality score, content score, different scores depending if you're 1P or 3P. You have your categorization, and you have your attributes. Now, a lot of attributes are obviously front facing as well, but a lot of them have to just do with the back end and the discoverability component. And then there's the copy and keywords, which, although they're also front facing, play such a vital role when it comes to the algorithm on Walmart. So let's get into it. So the first thing here is just simple as it gets, making sure your images are good, especially in today's day and age where mobile shoppers are so rampant, and like a lot of, even the majority of a lot of accounts are seeing their sales come from the mobile side of things. You want to make sure that your images are telling a big story, and that is the main selling point. When somebody's browsing through, whatever they're looking for a kid's multivitamin, you want a picture that's just gonna jump out and that's gonna catch them right over there. So yes, there are policies that Walmart has in terms of what you can do into your main image, but take advantage of, when they do let you go a little bit more aggressive with showing additional information on that main image. So this is something I always like to highlight over here. It's on that main image. You obviously want to have a clear white background. That's just the basics and the rules, but highlight a key feature. This is something that some merchants may not want you to do, but some merchants will actually require, or not require, but request for you to do, where you get to actually highlight a little bit about this, especially in very competitive spaces. And even if you're selling at maybe a little bit of a higher price point, if you could highlight why your product is different than another brand, you have that ability to now win that sale immediately. Oh, my product's priced 20%, 30% higher than my competitor. Oh, well, that's because my product is, let's say, bigger, or contains an extra vitamin, or it's sugar-free, whatever it is. Highlight that in that main image, to really capture it in. It's not just, you have a lot of small text on the bottle here, but here you have highlighting the main idea as to what's going on the side of the image. That's the primary thing you want to get in the main image. In this case, maybe you could also add a little bit of like a couple of gummies next to the bottle. That's something you can do as well. All these different games you could play just to kind of really capture the audience in that first bite.
I would also add real quick too, I think that's a really good example. It's following Walmart style guidelines, which are also changing on a regular basis. And, as David was saying, that quick call out of, okay, this is a multivitamin, it's kids, it's 150 count. Those are all super important.
Exactly. Further,
a quick question just that comes in, are we going to be able to share these slides?
Of course. We'll share all this stuff with you after. You can send them out to
Awesome. We'll make sure everybody gets a copy.
Perfect.
Right here, Walmart allows text on main images, question mark.
So it is an interesting space, and what I would say is take advantage of it while you have it. I work with a number of SAMs from the Walmart side, those are strategic account managers, who actually request that you do use these abilities now to enhance your listing. If you do look in the guides, it's may not necessarily be recommended, but a lot of even merchants, account managers will request that you do this, especially in competitive spaces. So they're not going to take down your listing for now. It's kind of like, consider Amazon a while ago, not necessarily the Wild West, but it's a little bit more loose with their restrictions. So take advantage of it while this is equate here. This is a Walmart branded product right here. So if they're doing it, you should do it this way.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome.
Sweet. So let's continue to some of the supporting images as well. Now, obviously, the order of the images is vital. We didn't really cover too much of that in here, but just consider telling the story of the product as you swipe along. You don't want to be too repetitive with the content, and you want to make sure that you're really getting to the base of what you're selling. It's very important that you have lifestyle images that include infographics, and I love this. This is a great example of it right over here. Is so many brands on their products, it's just lifestyle. Like, imagine this picture without these 2 bullet points over here. Yes, it's a good picture and it shows you how you use this product, but you've now immediately, this is a much more enhanced picture. Now that it gives you 3 levels of resistance, 4-inch bandwidth, you're selling more. You're constantly selling with your images as well. You're giving it more information constantly. So when you're including lifestyle images, make sure to convert them into infographics. Obviously, don't overtake the entirety of it, but make sure that you always have these callouts. You could have a banner below on the picture like this. There's so many different opportunities and different ways you can present this data, but I generally recommend just staying away from purely just infographic that doesn't have like any spice at all, like it's just bullet points. You always want to have a little bit of that flavor of the listing, as well as purely lifestyle images, which don't really include anything on the information side of things. So that's just something here on the infographic, an example of what we would recommend.
I mean, is this a lot just because so many people are just shopping on the image now? Nobody wants to read anything. And so you're just missing the opportunity. This is where people used to go and read the bullet points, say, oh, 3 levels of resistance, 4-inch band. Now they're not even going to the bullet points. So you actually have to include it into the imagery as a whole.
So true. It's so true. And I always tell people that on Walmart's Amazon, your copy is more selling actually to the Walmart algorithm than it is selling to the customer. And your images are what's selling to the customer. As I highly noted here, selling to customers on top. This is your sales point, which is why content is so important. We'll touch on rich media a little bit later. And if you can really dominate in that space and present everything, why you stand out from your competitors, or what makes your product better, or even if it's why your product is whatever at whatever price point it is, this is super useful to be able to see and visualize and really have that premium listing. Even if the product itself is not the best thing ever, if you have a premium listing and you show that good content here, it just gives the vibe of being a strong listing.
The carousel of images is super important, and this actually is a great visual of what not to do. So you want to have that white image on a, the image on the white product image on a white background needs to be your first image. But as David was saying, you have the opportunity to have additional carousel images that show and give more information to help that consumer convert and make a purchase. So David, I'll kind of let you talk more about this slide and why it's important.
Yeah, so this is a classic example that I see with so many brands of what not to do, especially in the supplement space or any sort of consumer space where it's just, here's a package here, here's this water bottle, here it is again, here it is again. Like, you're not selling anything. Yes, someone could zoom in and read what's going on in the bottle and learn a little bit more about it, but it's such zero effort. It doesn't relate anything other than just seeing the bottle in front of you, which, although it's useful, doesn't have any call outs that are not on the bottle. There's just so much more you could be doing here. Obviously, this listing only has 3 images, which is something that not recommended. You typically want to have at least 5 to 7 images. That's kind of a sweet spot. Anything less doesn't give enough. Anything more is too bulky, and you just kind of lose a customer because there's so much information. So this is just a classic idea of make sure that you have a nice suite of images, and that the best images are laid first. You want to have, obviously, like I mentioned before, the story that you're telling with your images is so impactful for mobile users. Even, desktop users are going to check images first. That's just where people go when they're first checking a product.
Yeah. So I'm just chuckling a little bit because I was in the OTC pharma space for a while. And when I hit the graphics team for, hey, I needed 6 images, that's exactly what they did. They just rotated the bottle.
Well, and
I'm sure everybody's shaking their head. Like, everybody's been in this spot. Like, that's not what I was looking for.
And it's amazing how many times you see this, and it's just underutilized space, and you're just not doing yourself any favors. And that's where we can help advise on what we would recommend and what is going to win for Walmart.
Yeah. I mean, there is a note in here. It says, it's interesting to hear that it's not suggested. I actually do read the sides of the bottle in multiple images like this, similar to what I do in the store. Which is interesting. But maybe you just need the facts. Maybe that's why we're rotating the bottle to see the supplement.
Exactly. I believe that you want to highlight everything that says on the bottle, but don't do it in this way. I also would not even recommend doing it this way. So this is also a little boring. I have a slide here. This is how I recommend people do it. This, you're getting the supplement facts in a much not. The funny thing is with this one's actually both come from the same listing. So that's just the problem from the listing setup side. But it's the redundancy here. But here you have clear supplement facts, very boring on the white background. You can even see it's like cropped from a picture of the bottle with low resolution. You see a little bit of color. Not nice. Versus this, wow, beautiful. You have the brand name on top. You have your aesthetic color in the background. You have a little bit of the gummies dancing and having a good time. Like, you have the full, everything you had on the previous slide, but in a much nicer presentation. And this, you're winning, you're selling, you're killing. just by doing this. So any of those points that you have on the bottle, which you definitely, obviously, if it's on the bottle, it's important information. You want to relay that to the customer. Make it into a nice slide like this. This may not even need to be the second image, but it could be an additional image. Also on Walmart, this is a side point. There are listings where you have below the fold, not even rich media, but it'll have the supplement facts. Just something to consider. You could just move things down over there as well. So this image might become even more redundant, but especially you want to move away from this and really get towards this. It's literally identical content, even more. You have the suggested use here, distributed by Walmart. Nice. You have all the information over here in just so much of a better presentation. This is a perfect infographic on a nice background. That's just so much better than this over here. So again, it's just all about having that premium content, feeling that when someone's on that listing, they're really getting something nice, that's something they actually care to put in that date, that nice work to the images. I think it helps sell the customer a little bit more, that they're not just buying something that feels a little cheap because it has the bottle spun around 3 times in a low resolution.
Well, and I love too, you can easily read the ingredients. Clearly for a product like this, that is definitely important. And so I can have that same, experience as if I'm in the store holding the bottle, looking at it myself.
100%. So that's a bit of the images side of things. Again, it's just to recap, it's strong main image with a key call out, infographics on top of lifestyle, and then making sure that your images all have a similar flavor to them. It should be continuous. It shouldn't be like you're looking at 2 different products from completely different catalogs. You want to make sure that there is that flavor. You could have a brand's like logo on the corner. You could even use like a similar color wave throughout, but it should feel continuous. It shouldn't have that very strong variance. Any comments on images? I don't know if there's any questions or anything on that.
No, we're good. But for those who have just joined us, drop questions into the chat or the Q&A, or email me, Aaron, AARON at BWGconnect.com, and we'll keep fielding them as we go.
Okay, amazing. So the next component here is the copy. And again, this is understanding the client-facing component of it. Although the copy does sell to the Walmart algorithm, the point here is really to be visual, readable to the customers as well. So we have here just the basics of what is the copy on Walmart. What do you have? You have the title, you have a description, and you have key features. So title is obviously just going to be the main hook that you want to sell the customer on. And it's important that you utilize the beginning of the title the most. The standard style guide and the way they request is to have the brand name up front, and then to have the main keyword right after that. The first, I believe they say 16 characters of the title are the most impactful when it comes to indexing and keyword ranking. So very important to utilize that. I have seen some suggestions where you can even just start off the bat with the keyword, and that helps for indexing, although it's not good in the long run. It's not pro Walmart style guides, but if you're just trying to get your listing indexed, there is a strategy to doing that as well. It's up to you. If there's different ways you go. If you have the capacity to have a launching copy and a long-term copy, there is something to do over there as well.
So, a quick question comes in. Item 360 will deduct content quality points for having a title longer than 99 characters. Which should we do?
So I do address this later in here, and I will talk about it now. In item 360, you want to achieve your content score of 95%. And I believe stay at 95%. You could be a little bit more, but don't try to achieve 100%. Why? Because there are diminishing returns. Your buyer wants you to be at 95, and that's all that matters. It helps obviously for ranking, but nothing really changes between 95 and 100. So it's worthwhile to lose a couple of points by not having the perfect copy for what they want, because you're able to stuff another keyword into the title, or you're able to stuff more information to the description. Obviously, for some of the basics, you want to make sure that it's in there. If they're saying, hey, you're missing the gender or the size from the copy, from the title, put that in there. But it's worth it to lose a little bit. Additionally, when it comes to the character restrictions, it does vary based on category drastically. 125 characters is just our recommendation, because you want to make sure that the copy doesn't get cut off when you're searching for the product, or at least the main points are not there. And especially the main thing is to avoid Amazon copy. That is, you know, the Amazon titles are just so long and keyword stuffed and rich. It's just not what Walmart wants, and they'll deduct a lot more points, and it won't necessarily actually work well towards the algorithm as much as it does on Amazon. So yes, obviously the 95% score is paramount, but it's okay to lose some points for something like this. That's our opinion on the matter.
Another quick comment that just comes in here. It says we have merchants that are now pushing us to get to 98%. That's interesting. Yeah,
that's interesting. I personally have not experienced that, but even so, you still have a couple of points. You could have a perfect listing when it comes to having all your attributes filled out. I oftentimes find that the attributes are going to carry a lot more weight. If you are able to bring your attributes to being 100% filled out, and we're going to touch on attributes later, that includes even maybe irrelevant attributes, but if they're requested, making sure that you do have some sort of value in there, even none or NA, something along those lines, just to achieve that 98%, and then use your points that you have left over to be able to get a little bit stronger in your copy. That's my recommendation. That's our recommendation.
Awesome.
That's the thought process there. The title is the most important, obviously, for having that main keyword. Some long, maybe even a long tail keyword you go with including the main keyword at the front. And you could, if you are able to, you could have the keyword again in the title if you're able to slyly put in then and you have enough room. Obviously, you want to highlight the key selling point of what the product is there as well, why you differ from others. And the description, it's called the short description on the Walmart backend, but we say it should be long. You know, we like to keep it to like even 6 paragraphs, very quick, very small paragraphs. Readability is so key, and use this to keyword stuff. You want to stuff like crazy in the description. We ran a study where we looked at indexing across 1,000 keywords of about 150 listings, and the items that didn't index the most for keywords were because they were not in the description out of everywhere. Because the title, you can only have so many keywords. But any product that had the keyword over 2 times in the description was about, like, there was an outlier of 5 keywords out of the whole thing that were in such a scenario that did not index. So you really, if you look at the numbers, indexing really comes down to repetition of keywords throughout the copy. So really make sure that the description is the longest place for you to be able to stuff. We recommend kind of our formatting is to have like a hook sentence, a couple of paragraphs, another hook, and then a couple more paragraphs as well. Keep paragraphs short, saying 2 sentences, maybe 3 sentences, but very, very brief, just to be like 2-3 lines, very readable, extremely palatable. You don't want to have anything too crazy where like you just can't, you know, it looks like one massive block of text. It's terrible. Also, just be careful with your copy when you do upload it. It could, Walmart will maybe randomly just collapse your copy one day and all of a sudden it's just one big block of text. So always revisit your listings, making sure this is general PDP excellence recommendations. Always check your listings. Don't rely on what it shows in the back end. Visually look at your listings, audit them every so often to make sure that these things don't happen. And then finally, the third area for copy is the key features, which is bullet points. They call it the long description, even though it is technically short. We recommend about 5 lines. 2-3 is a little bit too few, and anything more than that, it gets a little bit long and lengthy. You're not really going to read it. And what's nice actually is recently, like I'm talking 2 weeks ago, Walmart actually restructured the way their PDPs display, where instead of everything showing below the description, they now brought the bullet points to the top, similar to how Amazon does it, right? Beneath the 6 call out attributes, they show you the key features. So that became even more of an important component, and we want to make sure that you're highlighting the top features there. Something that people do a lot, which I'm not such a fan of, is they put like 9 or 10 different key features, and they're each like 3 words, like 6-pack, you know, made in USA, like really, really like basic information, rather than having like 5 important or bigger bullets. There is also, now that Walmart changed things up 2 weeks ago, there is a strategy behind kind of the way people do it on Amazon, where you have like the first call out, like a 2 to 3 word all caps, and then you like kind of break down what that is, like a breakdown of like what that short bullet is, just so that you could gain more of that visibility up front. But it's more from a visual side rather than algorithmic side, because the keywords, again, obviously you want them in key features, but we find that the description is the most valid place to see the results with indexing in ranking.
And just know that you're going to continue to see Walmart changing their algorithm. So they're testing a lot of different things. It impacts everything. We are staying on top of what's going on so we can, definitely advise on that. But just know, things are going to change up and that will continue to happen. And it's just to benefit the customers as well.
And just a really quick, another question around in regards to the 125 characters listed. Our feedback from Walmart says 100. Is that just getting back to the item 360 score?
That's the same thing. Again, it does vary, but I mean, there's some as low as 70, It's just from our experience, try to stay. You could go with what you'd like there. If you're achieving your goal and you're making sure that you're getting in those main keywords and able to keep it to 100, sweet. But if you can stuff another big keyword in there for an extra 12 characters or 20 characters, it's worthwhile. That's just what we've seen from experience. Now, if your merchant's not happy, then obviously, you want to make sure your merchant's happy. But that, generally speaking, you should be able to afford a couple of points. And the copy, the title is the main place to do that. The description and key features, you could achieve that goal. You should be able to achieve very high scores over there regardless. And again, if your attributes are filled in properly and your images are obviously have a correct number of images, your copy is not really going to take away that many points.
And the Walmart style guidelines vary just a little bit by different categories. So that may be why you're saying 100 versus 125, but absolutely agree with Michael's recommendation there.
Yeah, so a couple questions and or comments. One is ironic that Walmart's PDP quality score is a measure of quantitative metrics, not quality, which is interesting. And we always get copy for our PDPs, but internal teams at Walmart change them to something more generic for the product category. Is there anything we can do about that?
Interesting. So on the first part, the ironic comment, Walmart has to be about their KPIs, and I talk about this a little bit later. Is Walmart is so large that they have to rely on their KPIs to survive. If they purely based on like, how our relationship with the buyer is, or how your quality of your product is, they're not going to be able to succeed. They have to live by their KPIs in order to like, this is garbage, get rid of it. This is good, keep it. Even though technically, you might have a quality over a quantity. It's accurate. Regarding the second component here,
I mean, the Walmart team's changing PDP.
It's an interesting. I haven't necessarily seen that. I'm curious to actually see that myself, but it's just about having that relationship and communication with your merchant. Is it the merchant side that's changing it, or is it like? I'm not sure why that would happen. The only case I've seen like really strong restrictions on the listings is from Walmart private brands. But other than that, I haven't really seen that happen. And in that case, it's just they need more approval, and you can't actually change anything without going directly through Walmart.
I'm kind of surprised to hear that too. And are they asking for your approval of what they're changing? I'd love to kind of better understand that, because that is interesting.
Especially if it's your
says
product.
It's not coming from the merchant and it is for apparel. Interesting. I might just connect you with David and Lane afterwards. I think you all would love the conversation because it sounds
definitely
incredibly unique.
I'll say this, I'm not surprised. Nothing surprises me with this type of stuff here. There's always something new that happens, and we just have to discuss and understand why it's happening, working with Walmart, opening a case, but that's very strange that would be the case, and I would love to learn more about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so were there some other questions, Aaron, on the copy? I know copy is such a major topic, so there might be a lot of curiosity.
I mean, this is starting to happen a lot because another one dropped in there. I'm seeing our titles and images being updated as well. We're in a food category, and it says being updated by Walmart associates. It's funny, it's the same thing is happening on the Amazon front too, right? With listings being updated. So I think maybe we just have a how do you deal with listings being updated call for everybody.
Yeah, that's it may be that there's that the content quality is just not great, and the buyer will step in and do some work on it. But if the quality is good, I don't know or why they would jump in for that. But it is, I think it's ringing some sort of bell regarding maybe some associates may do something.
Definitely.
Interesting idea.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. Definitely would love to talk more about that, because they really honestly shouldn't have access to do that. I'd be curious if you're selling as a first-party supplier, a third-party supplier, and if you're a Walmart privately owned brand. I feel like understanding some of those components might help. And I see some more questions popping through, so definitely sounds like this is a good conversation to continue.
Yeah, absolutely. This is what's awesome, is here's how we stay really relevant, and we do
Exactly.
another one specifically on that as a whole. Yeah. And it's not small either. These are bigger brands.
Right.
Yeah.
And that could be what it is as well. With the bigger brands, Walmart will be more involved with the listings.
Yeah, and that interesting one I see this is dropped in here on Amazon. They have the new thing where on 14 days, they tell you what they're going to do. And if you don't respond in 14 days, they just update it with whatever they said they're going to do. That's going to be super interesting. Awesome.
Very interesting. Okay, so I do want to just kind of jump through this real quick over here. This highlighting some key points, because I do want to be able to get through some of these later slides as well. So again, just highlighting Walmart specific. Make sure that you're using Walmart new copy specific to Walmart guidelines. Readability, obviously, you mentioned. Level of detail. Use your feedback you have from reviews, from FAQs. Understanding what are common questions that are asked about your product, and this is just basic copy across e-commerce as a whole. Make sure, let's say it's a I don't know, table. I want to make sure obviously your dimensions are listed strong in the copy, in addition to having an image. Make things easy to find. Consider to use some common sense. Obviously, that will help. And then what separates your product from others, especially if your product is more of a premium product. You want to make sure that your product has very strong content to indicate why you are more premium. You could always have, going back to image, you could have that comparison one over the other, but this is just in the copy side, like identify why are you better than others. Lane, you wanna touch on this? Or can you touch on the rich media?
Yeah, absolutely. So rich media, this is what Walmart allows as of today. So above the fold, you'll have videos, 360 images. 360 images, definitely good for categories where it's let's say in the furniture category, a chair. I want to see the front, the back, the top, the sides. Think about strategically what makes sense. Again, having the same shopping experience as you would be in the store looking at the item. And then below the fold, they have the ability for feature sets. Feature sets are great. This is an example in the bottom corner here of a feature set right now. You can have content on feature sets. You can have lifestyle imagery. You can also have videos. So there's a lot of flexibility with what you can do there. It's a great way to utilize the brand assets that you have to tell the shopper the story you're wanting to tell. Interactive tours are another great option that are shown below the fold. One of my favorites are comparison charts. And so you can see this, the first image that's here at the top, and it's looking at different mascaras. Now, what you can't do is compare with your competitors, but you can compare within your own brand portfolio. But it's good to help that shopper make sure that they're choosing the right product for their needs. FAQs is a great one too. Frequently asked questions, especially in categories like health and wellness or OTC, anything where there's going to be those commonly asked questions. And then document hosting. So again, furniture category, you have instructions on how to put that desk at home together. That's important information the shopper needs. That's a great way to utilize that information and include it on your PDP page.
So a couple questions around the algorithm. One is the algorithm updated when the guidelines are updated? And the other one is in regards to the algorithm. Is this helping with conversion, or is this similar to Amazon where the A+ detail pages don't necessarily help with the internal algorithm other than, hey, it's there? They're more focused on converting.
So the first question for the algorithm for guidelines, I would hope that the algorithm gets updated when guidelines are updated. But I think it's a lot more complex to update the algorithm that quickly, considering, it's can't just all of a sudden one day everything is changing, but there may be some changes on the back end. Obviously, the algorithm is proprietary. We don't really know the details of it. But I would imagine that obviously the algorithm factors in, let's say, the listing quality score. So having the listing quality score, you want to make sure that that is strong as well. Then on the below the fold stuff, it's all conversion rate. There is no, to my knowledge at least, like you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe there's any component of actual change to the listing score within Walmart. It's all third party. It's not actually hosted by, it's hosted through third party services, such as ourselves. There is video and 360 images you can now do through Walmart directly, but even then it doesn't have any implications to my knowledge into the algorithmic rank, but purely helps increase conversion rates where it is very important to do so. Especially this is a big topic of images as a whole, helps so much. Something else I like to point out with rich media is it makes your PDP massive. So if you fully open all of your rich media and you're scrolling, it takes a long time before you'll actually see a competitor's listing. So the carousels will be really down below. So you're actually keeping competitors off of just, advertising on your listing and being able to kind of take away some of the goodness. And they already are sold so much into your listing because they have all this content before seeing oh, this image looks pretty, and they click on your competitor and boom, you're done. So just some ideas on the rich media side.
Yeah. So in regards to that, do you need a partner? Do you need to partner with a third party in order to publish below the fold?
Yes. So anything below the fold does have to be done through a partner. We are offering this ourselves right now. We have a contract with one of the largest providers in the space and able to offer, I believe, best of market pricing for this. We do it by parent SKU. So this way you don't have to pay if you have 30 variations, you just put one SKU on. You can have different colors for each variation, whatever it is. And this is just a great way. We've seen major boosts to conversion rates across. And I saw someone ask the question about if it's restricted to any categories. There was a restriction earlier this year with regards to supplements due to some state restrictions, but I believe that has all been lifted and everything should be green-lit in terms of what can currently get below the fold content.
I can confirm that has been lifted from supplements. So I saw a lot of rich media earlier.
Yeah, awesome. So anybody, if you're looking for that, I would encourage you to follow up with David and Lane afterwards. We'll make sure an email connection goes out. If you need a partner, that's just the reality. Are the feature sets and charts shoppable? That's it.
The feature sets are not, but the comparison charts are. You could click on the different links and it'll take you to those products.
And I would actually say to that, it honestly depends on how it's set up for the comparison charts. Some are shoppable, some aren't, but we can help make sure they're shoppable.
You should, yeah. I mean, there's an ability to put a link in. You don't have to, but highly recommend it.
We recommend, yeah.
The feature set, potentially you could do text and technically insert a link. I don't know if that's the best practices. Then you might get some problems, but I would recommend not necessarily. It's definitely not as extensive as a Walmart the Amazon A+ premium A+ content where you have it's pretty simplified as to what Walmart has to offer, but it's definitely a big boost and a great way to edge out your competitors for this.
Man, tons of questions. What are key differences of PDP capabilities from 1P versus 3P on Walmart.com, if any?
So interestingly, as of today, I would say not really much happening differently on the back end. There is a different portal. There's supplier one versus seller center. Walmart's trying to do as much as they can to make it as the continuity as much as possible. The thing is, on the 1P side, you are able to do more by discussing with your buyers, right? So the idea is on the 1P side, it's more about your relationship with your buyer, able to do more with your listing. Versus on the 3P side, it's more about the programs that you have from your strategic account manager. So I'll give an example to this is, let's say, virtual packs or bundles. On the 3P side, they just released virtual packs earlier this year, still in beta for many accounts. Some accounts don't have access to it, but this allows you to do virtual multi-packs, two of the same product. It's all through WFS, and whatnot over there. You get cheaper pricing, but it just is virtual listings. On the 1P side, in order to create that, you have to work with your merchant and they will create the listing for you. But they also have the ability to do a virtual bundle, which is across 2 different products, which may sell well together. And you can do all this stuff on, but it has to be done through your merchant. There are maybe some backend things that are different, some attributes which might be easier to do in one place versus the other. Interestingly, as of today, you can't edit your variants on the 1P side because they're doing a whole change to how variations are structured on the 1P side. So what you can always do is just create your listings. If you have a seller center account, create your listings, not duplicate them, just like hijack your own listings technically from the 3P account, win content rights because you're the brand owner, and then update your variations like that. If you don't have either, let's say you're a DSV vendor, you can't get in touch with your merchant, or your merchant's difficult just to attain. There are ways to do it, and yes, there are benefits to having both. And honestly, I mean, that's kind of a big strategy. Is if you have both, you have the full picture. You're able to do everything for both ends. You can build stuff on the 1P side, jump on it from the 3P side. If you build things on the 3P side, jump on it from the 1P side. There's things to do on both fronts. Previously, attributes were actually one of the last slides here, which I don't think we're going to be able to hit, is item spec 5.0, which started off, everything goes through the 1P side. That's pretty much how Walmart funnels it. They started first on the 1P side, and then trickles into the 3P side. So item spec 5.0, which just jump to the end there. Just quickly jump here, just to kind of talk about this a little bit here. It's such a big component, that's such a hot topic these days. But item spec 5.0 originally started out on the 1P side and now has moved to the 3P side. And what it is it's also not rolled out for all 3P accounts. It's where items are created on a product type level, which is very granular compared to the category level. As you can see, it's talking about 3,600 options versus 75. It's actually 74 to 77 different options on the category side. And attributes are all now based on that product type. So interestingly enough, there were attributes that were previously only available to be filled out on the 1P side, and on the 3P side, I didn't even see those. Then there is, as they're continuing this migration of 5.0 into the 3P side, you have on the 1P side, which I love, is recommended attributes. If you go ahead and you download a file, like a content update file on the 1P side, it tells you, here's your list of your recommended attributes. This is what you should be filling out, and these are impacting your score. Versus on the 3P side, you could manually see that one by one if you go into like your growth opportunities section, but there's no file that gives it to you for all your listings. It doesn't give you that recommendation yet, and I know they're gonna get there, but that is a massive file and super useful for the 3P side of the business as well, to help you meet your content scores, help you meet your listing quality scores there as well. There's also just been like a lot of changes to this, which is a big component. I call it free form, like just being able to type in whatever you want versus a drop down, like a closed list. That has changed drastically through item spec 5.0 on the previous item specs. That so many have moved from this open form cell to now being a drop down. And if you don't migrate over, a lot of your listings might still have incorrect information, which you can't update. And this is this is a really fun one. If you export your data and you try to change something else and try to re-upload it, it throws an error because it's no longer an allowed value. So you definitely want to make sure that you're up to date with these things. And yes, Walmart will continuously update the 1P side and then the 3P side, but making sure that you're always up to date on both fronts is super vital. So
awesome. A couple of things I want to jump into because another Evelyn drops in here. Hey, Evelyn, we have our images descriptions being overwritten, not by unauthorized 3P, but old images on Walmart's 1P side. Is this happening to anyone else? And then at the same time, well, just a little bit earlier, Todd dropped in here verbatim from a Walmart call, if it helps. And so this is the Walmart call. It says, so the Gen AI product that we're using has helped us populate the attributes and the characteristics of hundreds of millions of items. And that would have taken us, as I said, 100 times longer if he tried to do it manually. So when we're trying to really understand the intent of a customer has in each session, when they're on the site or in the store, they're able to match the catalog to their intent. And so what I'm pulling out of that is it could be near real time that Walmart is actually updating based on what they're seeing, right? That people are searching on and shopping on, that if it's off, but it's the right product that they're looking for, they are actually potentially updating the content that's on that PDP to more closely match what people are getting or looking for, so that if they land on it, they convert. Now, I may be making a stretch there, but I'm connecting dots that I
Right.
think are probably connected, because Walmart, at the end of the day, wants to do the same thing as Amazon, wants to put in front of the customer what they're most likely to buy in the shortest period of time.
For sure.
So
It's very interesting. I think I'm very curious to see how this plays out over the next few months, years in this space, but I think it's very much on specific listings on a very maybe the biggest, the ones that are having the most shoppers constantly view, and there's the ones that they're optimizing using AI. But I mean, we manage like tens of thousands of PDPs. I have not experienced this for the majority of our client base, or any. I mean, I could maybe reach out, see if there's something they've experienced, but
I think it's relatively new too, right? It's
for sure.
yeah.
For sure. No, I'm not denying its existence. I'm just, I know it's maybe something that maybe is newer, or they're testing out on certain ranges. But at the end of the day, you have to consider, your keywords that you are trying to achieve rank for on Walmart. And if your algorithm's removing them or changing them, like that's not gonna work for you, There's so much. I mean, we didn't even think about like the advertising discussion. It wasn't the point of this call, but if you think of the advertising, there's this idea of a relevancy score, which you want to make sure that your keywords that you're bidding on are in your copy, and you have to be ranked for those keywords that affect your bid. There's so much.
Yeah, quick on that. I'm going to drop a couple of podcasts that I did with your co-founder Michael. I'm going to drop actually a couple of the links to the podcasts that I did. One is Understanding the Walmart Ecosystem, and the other was Walmart Advertising Deep Dive. I'm going to drop those into the chat here. I also there's a couple more questions just as I get those, and I'll drop them in if people want to take a listen. Let's go here. And the other one is where is rich media below the fold accessible? We typically use Salsify, which does not allow video. Would this be item 360?
Okay, so accessible, again, it's all through third party. I know Salsify is one of the providers. You have to reach out to them to discuss how to set that up. For videos, it's specifically videos are above the fold. You could do that through Walmart directly. There is some accounts that accessed it on the 3P side. On the 1P side, if you just go to update, you'll be able to see or maintenance, you'll be able to see rich media, and you can just do videos. It is a little bit more restrictive, I find, because you need to have a BTT file, a subtitles file, when you do it directly through Walmart, versus if you use a third-party software, you don't necessarily need to have a subtitles file. Random fact over there. And for 360 images, you can also do that through Walmart directly, but I think only on the 1P side as of now. And also, that's only let you add one video. Thank you, Joanne. That is a very, very important component. Walmart only lets one video per PDP, versus if you use a third-party provider, you're able to actually have multiple videos, similar to how you have on Amazon. But comes back to the PDP excellence. You don't want to get carried away with it.
And remember, in a feature set, you can include a video as well, which is another opportunity.
That's a great call. Exactly. Feature sets are comprised of text, images, and videos. So just another great way to highlight maybe some certain features about it. I believe even in the interactive tour, if you have you click into the tour and you can actually see a video there as well. So there are much of different ways to display videos and to share more about your product throughout rich media. It's a great way to really double down on that conversion. Again, we've seen massive increases in conversion rate from utilizing rich media properly.
Yeah, and I had a note from Mariana around being able to drop. Apparently, some people are having an issue with getting to those two podcasts with Michael around the ecosystem and the advertising. So yeah, we can drop those in the email follow-up as well, so you can make sure we dive into those. Wow, so we're nearly at time. We've had 21 questions, like 20 comments come in. This has been a blast. I mean, I think we might have to do another one to keep rolling, because I know there was stuff here that we didn't get to.
Nope.
before we get to some quick key takeaways here, thanks everybody for the fantastic conversation that you were a part of today and sending in all those questions. They make these webinars so much more informational and so much more fun on my side. Look for a follow-up email from us. We're 100% going to connect you with David and with Lane over at SellCord. We're going to make sure that you have links to those podcasts that we did with Michael, another co-founder there at SellCord. The copy of the deck as a whole. We want to get as much of that information out as possible. From my side, I'm going to hit you with an email. I would just love to have a follow-up conversation with anybody on the line today. There's a bunch of old friends. Love to reconnect. Again, I don't sell anything here. I'm just running this networking group, but would love to help you, tackle any current problems you have, make any recommendations around service providers, pick your brain on the coolest people you're working with in the newest tech for sure. So look for that follow-up email from me. Key takeaways, Lane and David, this has been all blast, an absolute blast.
Thanks, Aaron. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I mean, I think we did about half of this deck. I have a lot more to cover here. So I knew time would be a component, but we'll do a part 2 over here at some point and go through the rest of it.
Yeah. Awesome. That sounds good. I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, it's came up because so many people are rooting for Walmart. This is they're wording for it. They're like, just figure it out. So
also, yes, also right after Walmart Seller Summit, so I can understand there's a little bit of hype and noise in the space.
Too cool. Lane,
Yeah, I would just say key takeaways from this, making sure that you have an excellent product detail page on walmart.com. It's going to help you win. It's going to help you be visible, drive sales, searchability. You're going to be best in class. That's what folks are looking for, the right products based on what their consumer journey is. And ultimately it's going to make Walmart happy, and partner up together. It's a win-win. You have more sales. Walmart has a big smile on their face, and it's a great partnership.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks so much, team. Thanks to everybody who dialed in today. It's been a fantastic conversation. Look for a follow-up email from us. Everybody take care and stay safe, and look forward to having you at a future event. Thanks again, team. We'll see you. All righty.
Bye.